The national debt is the money that the United States owes to other countries because it was borrowed in order to pay the obligations the US has. Every time the US borrows money, it issues a treasury bond that looks like this. So this is a $1 million treasury bond, and the US owes more than $18 trillion. So just imagine owing 18 million copies of this treasury bond to other countries. The treasury bonds have maturities over 10 years. This means that the US has that time to come up with the money in order to exchange those treasury bonds issued to the countries that decided to lend money to the US. When Barack Obama took presidency, the national debt was at about $6.66 trillion. Today, the debt is more than $18 trillion. Since Barack Obama became president, the national debt has tripled. There is a debt limit, which is the amount of money the US can borrow so that it can break even with their obligations. The debt limit has been increased 78 times in the past, and in reality, the US has no limit on how much it can borrow, because every time there is a debate to increase the debt limit, it always increases. And this is due to the fact that the debate for the debt limit takes place after the tax and spending policies have taken place. The truth is that the United States doesn't really need to pay its debt back, because unlike people, the United States will not die. There are many countries that own the US's debt. The biggest donor is mainland China, owning 7.2%, followed by Japan with 7%. Well, it's true. 16% of the national debt is owned by the Social Security. Another 13% is owned by the federal government entities, and another 12% is owned by the Federal Reserve. When countries fear that their economy would suddenly drop, they will invest in the US Treasury bonds. So it is very convenient for the United States. The national debt is growing, and it may be moving slowly, but in the end it will reach us. And when that happens, the economy will be in really serious trouble. It is predicted that by 2019, our national debt will increase to over $20 trillion in debt. If the government decided to stabilize the national debt, it would be tough, but it will result in strengthening the current economy, and it will save the future generations of this debt crisis. The US is still considered the best place to put your money in, and as long as this is true, money will make its way into the United States economy. If the US didn't borrow money, it would become a real chaos. Look at it this way, the United States borrows and the currency controls, so the United States will never run out of money. The US can create an infinite amount of dollars at no cost. The reasons that the United States doesn't do this is because there is a high demand for its debt, as well as it would create a high inflation rate. The inflation would cause a rising of interest payments, resulting in tax hikes and/or spending cuts. The economy would start to drop, people would lose jobs, inflation would go up, meaning prices would rise. So this $1 bill is 6 inches long. If $15.6 trillion were laid end to end, they would form a chain of 1.4 billion miles long. This is enough to stretch from the surface of the Earth to the surface of the Sun and back 10 times. Also, just $8.8 trillion are enough to give every 18-year-old a 4-year college education for the next 57 years.